What does it take to be the best? Strong will, talent, hard work? And what if even after showcasing all these qualities, you stare at a situation where the summit may eventually be out of your reach? There is only one answer to that. You just push for the best and don't care about anything else.
Hi, this is Somil and welcome back to the Driving Force. Time has flown and we're just a couple of races away from deciding the winner of the championship. And naturally, it is easy for all the drivers to feel the jitters as one tiny mistake could cost them the chance of being a worthy champion. In the last episode, we had showed you the highlights of race 1 of the final round. Now, let's focus our attention on the race, the reverse grid one. And reverse grid means more excitement. Mathematically, all the 4 racers, Saurav, Prateek, Jeet and Siddharth, were in contention. Harsh Sheth was starting from pole position and the winner of the first race of the weekend, South African Jeffrey Kruger, was starting in P12. Alongside pole sitter Harsh was Anmol Singh Sahil on the first row. As the lights went out, Anmol Singh Sahil had a solid start and he took the inside line around the first corner and snatched the lead from Harsh Sheth. Shubhamoy Ball, who started in 4th position, was immediately in the heat of the action as he lost his rear bumper. There was more bad news for Harsh, as even before 2 laps of the race, he had started losing more ground and was now overtaken by Ayush Tainwala and Jeet. It was actually a phenomenal start by Jeet, who started in P9 but was all the way up to P3 in no time. Meanwhile, Jeet's championship rival was also making progress as he moved up to the 4th place. But the same cannot be said for Saurav Bandyopadhyay. Starting in 10th, the championship leader was finding it difficult to grind it through the field and was mostly keeping behind another title contender in Siddharth Mediratna. South African racers Tasman Pepper and Jeffrey Kruger also made good progress and they were looking right behind Prateek in 5th and 6th place. And when they got their first opportunity, they passed him to become 4th and 5th. Anmol was smartly controlling his lead with all the action happening behind him. Jeet knew that this race result was extremely important and he was giving it his all as he made amends to pass Ayush. Now it was Tasman and Jeffrey's turn to pass Ayush, who swirled his car by slightly going on the runoff area as he went from 3rd position to 10th place. Anmol Singh Sahil eventually took the checkered flag, with Jeet behind him and Tasman from South Africa registering her 2nd podium in just as many races. Tasman also clocked in her fastest lap of the race. Prateek, who was passed by Shubhamoy Ball later in the race, finished 6th, with Siddharth and Saurav behind him in 7th and 8th. In the championship standings, Saurav still led the way with 387 points, with Prateek and Jeet tied on 2nd with 372. Siddharth was 4th with 344 points and mathematically still in contention for the championship. In the junior class, Ahmad Sadat actually won the championship with 1 race to go, as he was on 482 points, with his rivals Viraj and Kaushik Mohan Raja mathematically out of contention. Now, there is only 1 race to go for the culmination of the championship, and we still have a 3-way fight for it. But you know something? From the past 2 races, the participation of 4 South African racers, Jeffrey Kruger, Tasman Pepper, Daniel Rowe and Johan Pretorius, have made the contest all the more interesting. But how did they land up here? And what effect will it have on the championship? It's now time to find the answers to these questions.
Foreign drivers who've come in as part of our driver exchange program. This is something we've been doing for a while. What it is essentially we send our best driver or our champion to go to South Africa to race in their series, and we invite the South African champions to come and race in our series. The driver exchange program does is brings in fresh blood into the whole mix, getting the South African champions in here. They've never driven around this track. They haven't driven our race car. Despite that, they are quite quick because the level of competition in South Africa is much higher than what we have in India. Tasmin Pepper, who's also here, she's one of the very quick female drivers around. She finished 10th in the W Series, which is an all-women's international racing series.
Well, it's actually my first time in India, so it's nice to be here. Obviously, the weather conditions are a lot hotter at the moment than we've got at home, so that's been quite an adjustment, especially in the cars that there's no airflow inside there. So yeah, so far it's been really good. Everyone's really friendly and very welcoming, so it's nice to be here, and hopefully in the future we come back.
Tasmin, one of the girls from South Africa. Against all the guys, this wasn't any kind of ladies category, so it's important for all the women in our country to realize that it's very well possible for them to compete against the guys and win as well on merit without segregating the guys and the girls.
Jeffrey Kruger, who's here as one of the guest drivers, raced with us back when we were doing Polo Cup, I think 2012 and 2013. He's an extremely quick driver. He was the winner of the Polo Cup in South Africa last year.
The competition has really improved since the last time I was here in 2013, and had a great battle now in the second race, starting from 12th on the grid. The field was really close, and the driving standard has massively improved. We're constantly exchanging ideas between each other. It's a vital role for both countries as well, and it's just good to be welcomed by each other and to have unity. It's awesome.
Cars are a little bit different in South Africa. I haven't raced the front wheel drive all year, so I was quite surprised that I was quite close straight away at the beginning of the weekend. So yeah, I've been having a blast in the car, and we go back to South Africa where I'm going to be racing again, Polo Cup, so it's going to be cool.
It's a little bit warmer than what we used to. It's mainly the humidity here that's hurting us. As you can see by the state of my shirt that it's very humid. We just got to make sure we're hydrated. The fitness, you have to be quite fit to partake here, it seems. So if I had to come back here, I'd certainly work on that.
I definitely think it's an awesome idea. We used to do it with Germany, but I think it's really cool for South Africa and India to do it.
When the Indians come to us, we also learn from them. I mean, we can always learn from someone else. We learn from the way they do things here, the professionalism of the team, the catering, and it's a fantastic event.
What the exchange program does for our drivers is make them realize that there is a little bit more that they can also push. Our drivers have also realized that it is possible to come into a weekend straight away and be quick. It just shows that our drivers have raised the game.
So I'm sure, I think one of the questions that everybody will have is, okay, but if you bring in guest drivers into the mix, what happens to the championship? Because they're a guest driver, they don't actually score any points. So for example, Jeffrey and Tasmin finished first and second, and Saurabh finished third when you look at the actual finishing order of the race. But because both Jeffrey and Tasmin don't score any points, Saurabh gets the number of points he would have gotten if he had won the race. So that way it is, it doesn't hamper the championship per se, but we are at the same time moving the level up. So it is really a fantastic program.
It was an awesome weekend. Everybody was friendly. Yeah, no, can't thank Volkswagen India enough. All the guys that work for them, it's been fantastic. I've really enjoyed it.
The drivers coming in from just so many different countries truly give this championship an international exposure. But one also needs to understand the quantum of effort involved in making things like this happen. There are various people at Volkswagen who work day in and day out to make the series the success that it is today.
I'm a marketing professional and I look after marketing communications for Volkswagen Motorsport India. I lead the digital campaigns, which mainly include social media for the team.
I, with my team, majorly look into brand association. Signing up for different various brands is my major responsibility.
My main task is to coordinate between the team itself, internally as well as externally. Internally, mainly coordinating with finance, technical, probably marketing some. Externally, mainly with vendors. We have partnered with South Africa. Before we used to partner with China, so I coordinate with that. We have exchange programs, and as well as, of course, MMSC for all the race events which happen.
When it comes to marketing, it is basically promotions mainly, whether it is for the sport in general or the events that we are planning or any activities that are associated with the program that we have planned for. Promotions can be on ground for the particular event or when we are talking about promoting the sport, the TV series that has to come in, the communication of that particular series, promotion of the series and the brand that has to come in. Sponsorship is again quite critical, which is again involved in my task. Basically anything and everything to do with marketing, the sport, the brand, our associated brands together is what I'm responsible for.
I think with Motorsport, it is a very unique platform where you have a great opportunity to brand exposure. Volkswagen Motorsport India, the basic motto is to develop the motorsport talent in India, and that is how our sponsors help us to develop the motorsport talent in India by giving us a tremendous support.
Venky's as a title sponsor for Amio classes benefited from this immensely. This is where our brands come to a common ground and we can reach out to audiences across the nation.
In fact, Venky's is involved in the development of various activities for the youths. Venky's has involved all the years in the development of sports like cricket, badminton, and now we are looking for the motor car race development. We wanted to get associated with the sports because we also take care of nutrition as an activity with the development of chicken and eggs. So we feel it's right way promoting our brand with the protein associated with the sports people.
Now, for the last month or two, I'd really been wanting to have a taste of this Amio. I mean, it's incredibly fast and it's really fun to drive, so naturally I wanted to give it a go. When I spoke to the organizers though, they quickly brought me down to my senses and told me that that wasn't possible. However, they became very nice to me and they gave me the next best thing possible. Guess what? I got a hot lap around the Madras Motor Racetrack in a Volkswagen Polo RX. Trust me, it just can't get better than that. Let's have a look at this one. trust me, that was one incredible experience. Now, I fulfilled my quota of speed and thrill, but these drivers still have one more race to go. The final race of the season is upon us, and it's time for the drivers to give it their best in the last race of the Volkswagen Championship. Right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are at the starting grid for the final race of an incredible season. We've had some great moments, we've had some great fights, the weather has played its part, some drivers have been lucky, some haven't been, and in the end, it is all down between these drivers. For Saurav, Jeet, Prateek and Siddharth, if someone thought that Saurav was in the best position to clinch the title by registering the most points in the season, they were so far badly mistaken. The one golden rule of this championship was the fact that in the end, only the 10 best results out of the 11 races would be considered, and that meant that achieving the maximum for each contender was absolutely necessary. The excitement was at its peak, and the title contenders were feeling the nerves. Since it was the third race of the weekend, the starting grid was decided on the basis of the second best qualifying laps of the racers on Friday. Hence, Prateek effectively is in pole position because our South African guests won't be scoring any points, but in actuality it is Tasman Pepper in pole position with Jeffrey Kruger in second place. From our Indian full season drivers, we have Prateek Sonawane in first place, Saurabh Bhandapadhyay second, Siddharth Mediratta in third and Jeet Jabak right behind him. It is bound to be a thriller. All the hard work of all the drivers throughout the season, over the years, it all comes down to this very race. Winner takes all, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a look at what's going to happen in the final race of the 2019 Volkswagen Championship. As the lights went out, the race saw a clean start as Tasman and Jeffrey cleanly led the way ahead of the rest of the pack. While Prateek and Saurav maintained their positions, Jeet first overtook Najib and then Siddharth to slot in from 7th all the way up to 5th position. South Africans Tasman and Jeffrey were in a class of their own, opening up a vast lead between them and the rest of the pack. Prateek was in third, which in terms of the points was effectively the first position, since the guest racers were not given any points. Though in a race with a lot at stake, not much overtaking was taking place, and it started to appear as a processional event. However, there came a moment which can probably be the moment that turned the entire championship on its head. On the same lap, in the same area of the same track, Jeet passed both Saurav and Prateek to take the third position, and that was that. It was such a crucial move as it gave Jeet his fourth victory in terms of points and sealed the championship for him. Prateek and Saurav had no answer after that, as they finished the race in 4th and 5th position respectively. Tasman took the checkered flag with Jeffrey close behind. Jeet followed almost 15 seconds behind them, but for him, the battle was won. Despite being second in terms of overall tally to Saurav, he clinched the title with the maximum points by the application of the best of 10 rule. Ayman Siddharth, who finished 9th in this race, wasn't too disappointed either, as he had claimed the junior championship one race ago.
So 2019 was a great year for me. I started off the first weekend with 2 wins. Coimbatore had always been a strong track for me, so it went well. Second weekend didn't go as well as I had planned. Didn't get any podiums at all. Had contact in the reverse grid, so it was quite a disastrous weekend for me. Round 3 was a mix and match. I had a couple of podiums, but not enough to be at the top of the championship. So when I came into the 4th weekend, I had just one target. It was, go have fun. Whatever's to happen will happen, because I was about 10 to 14 points behind the championship leader. So I had pretty much nothing to lose and everything to gain. And luckily that's what happened, because they made a couple of mistakes and I was there to capitalize.
Finale was always going to be exciting, but as a competitor, it was a roller coaster ride. I mean, there's so much pressure, so many emotions, and just utmost precision was required to actually pull it off and get the job done to win the championship. But as we saw, I mean, the last round was incredible. I lost the pole position by 0.2 of a second, which I lost out in the last corner, literally. So that was really disappointing.
We went into the last race, me, Pratik and Jeet tied for points. And it was going to be an exciting race. I was fully pumped. I knew I could win the championship. And I was pressuring Pratik from lap 1. I was making moves. And I was clearly faster than him and Jeet. And the championship was like right there.
Saurav and Pratik getting entangled with each other in the corner after Anand's, which is the fast left. Both of them had contact. Pratik was a little airborne, and I knew that he wouldn't have had the drive to get a good exit. That was the only opportunity I got, and I took it. I just dove down the inside for both of them, and luckily got both of them in the same corner, which is really tough because that's a left-hander, which is a quick corner. You don't brake at all. And fortunately, I got them there, and then it was put my head down and drive fast and nothing else.
Moment when Pratik and Saurav, were fighting with each other and Jeet got by. That was the moment where the championship was won. Like I said, each of these three drivers were deserving champions and there was nothing separating them really. And it's just that Jeet was in the right place at the right time. He drove a brilliant race.
Obviously, if I look back, there were small errors I made in every round. Few points everywhere added up to a lot. And no regrets though, because even though it was down to the last race, I went into the race ready to win and I almost won it. And I think that's one of the best races I drove under a lot of pressure.
Over and all, my biggest competitor and the person I liked competing with was Saurav. Me and Saurav had a brilliant competition since round 1 itself, and we came a long way. We had some brilliant battles. This was just a competition, but for me it was way more than that. It was a way of making yourself a better person, making yourself a better competitor.
It's been a super exciting year. We've had the championship come down to the very last race with 3 drivers being so close. I don't think we've had as tight a championship ever in our history. Bad luck to both Pratik and Saurav. They drove an incredible season. Honestly, we should have 3 champions this year because all of them deserved it.
Okay, so Amio Cup was a bit difficult for me because it's my first time driving a race car. So I would like to give thanks to my simulator too, because that taught me the simulator taught me the basic of racing. Yeah, Amio Cup was good.
I think he's had the advantage of being around the entire system that we have over here. So he's had a little bit of an edge in understanding how everything works over here. And I think for him to win this very convincingly is good for him. And he definitely is a potential winner in the future.
My goodness, what a wonderful way this was to end the championship. The best of 10 rule, the exchange program, and just so many other factors all coming together to make the perfect finale. And in the end, Jeet was in the right place at just the right time. Another chapter in Volkswagen's annual championship has come to an end, and boy oh boy, it was quite the thriller. Over the course of showing this to you, we have also covered various aspects of the beautiful sport that is motorsport in the country of India. We have truly tried to build a canvas on which we can show you much more happening in the Indian motorsport scene in the future through the driving force. While we embark on that journey, you guys can chill at home and wait till the next time that we connect. On behalf of the entire team, my name is Somal Arora, signing off. Bye-bye.